welcome to the Coaxum Report. I'm Terry Coaxum, your host, and we're on the marketplace. You can find us on our TV network. I encourage you to download the app so that you can tune in. You can also catch us at WSTX Bloomberg on the radio. You can catch us on Amazon Fire, Android TV, Apple TV, and we're partnered with Tempo, and it is truly a pleasure today for us to be joined by my sister from another mister, Miss Tammy Meadows. Tammy, how are you?
Hi, Terry. How are you? It's good
I'm
to see
good.
you.
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining the Coaxum Report. So, in the Coaxum Report, we like to talk to small business owners about some of the barriers, best practices, and big ideas. And one of the things I have to let my listening audience know is that Tammy is a photojournalist, and she had the opportunity, and I had the pleasure of having her take pictures for me when I was. In a magazine for leadership. So, Tammy, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. And so, I want you to tell the listening audience, and so you can be seen throughout all of the Caribbean, Southeast Asia, and of course here in the United States. So, tell us a little bit about who you are, what got you where you are. And then we can talk about some of the barriers, the best practices, and the big ideas. But welcome to the Coaxum Report.
Thank you. No pressure there, right?
Not at all.
Well, as I'm Tammy Meadows, and I am a photographer, freelance photojournalist, and I'm also a community activist,
Mhm.
and I am a nonprofit um, founder of a nonprofit, Santa Land 365. I also run Santa Land at the mall every holiday season.
Mhm.
And yes, and I
And she's
document.
Mrs. Claus.
Yeah, aka Mrs. Claus. I'm instrument. I'm instrumental in starting the Brooklyn Santa Land Parade. This is the third year that we're having the parade.
Awesome.
Um, so very excited
So
about that.
what makes you do what you do, Tammy? I mean, I know you. I've known you for many years. Again, you're my sister from another mister. We share our passion for the community advocacy. We're part of the 7-7 Precinct Community Council. But your smile never leaves your face. You're always ready, willing, and able to jump on and help. No matter what we're doing in the community. Even last night, we went out and we fed. Gave hot meals out to those that were in the shelter as well as the community. So what makes you want to do what you do every day as a small business owner? Because it's not easy.
It's not easy, but just finding my purpose and the fact that, when I was asking God for certain things and trying to figure out what it is that I needed to do, and I have a passion for it, always trying to help people.
Right.
And sometimes to my detriment, but it's just one of those things that it's more rewarding to help and to give than to receive. And
Right.
that's just one of the things that makes me happiest, helping and bringing joy to people and putting a smile on their face, even, because nowadays people are just not expecting it. So even if
Right.
you say good morning to them, they're like, whoa, you said good morning? Like, where'd that come from? Right? So, it's we're in a climate now where rudeness and violence and just blatant disrespect is the norm, and
Right.
or it feels like it's the norm, and people really expect that. So when they get kindness, just to see the surprise and to see that, this is for me, but why not for you?
Right.
My
Right.
thing is to make everybody know that they are worthy. They are a part of this humanity.
Mhm.
This thing called life, and we all are connected. We're
That's
not
right.
individuals. There's a connection between each of us.
Right. So your passion comes from your knowing your purpose, understanding your purpose, right? So what are some of the barriers? I know a lot of small businesses are listening to my show, and I always come on every week and we talk about barriers, but we also talk about best practices and big ideas. I can hear through your explanation of what you do and how you got started that a lot of your best practices and big ideas just come from the energy, the rewarding energy that you get from taking a photo, from sharing that photo with family members, and from Santa Land, and giving the toys and the games and all that. I know personally with some of the best practices and big ideas, but what are some of the barriers? You're a woman, you're in business. We're post COVID, and a lot of people at one point weren't spending a lot of money with us. We were closed down for a long time. What were some of the barriers that you had to face or have to face right now as a small business owner?
A lot of it is out of pocket,
Yeah.
and out of pocket expense is, ooh. But I'm like, well, eventually it's gonna grow. You're gonna get bigger. You're gonna get better. It's just sacrifice that you have to make in order to get things done, and just trying to build that clientele,
Okay.
and making it so that you surround yourself with a group of people. You hire a group of people who are friendly and inviting, and make a great first impression to make people want to come back. So
Okay.
trying to find people who have the same passion as me.
That's right. And
And
understand your vision. They have to
right,
understand your vision. Yeah.
right. That's a lot of vetting and a lot of filtering. You got to filter people out, and they're like, okay, well, you're not going to work. So,
So,
because
so that's really interesting, because one of the things, even in working in small business administration, you just basically hit the nail on the head. Access to capital. Access to capital has always
yes,
been number one. When I talk to small businesses about what they're doing, they tell me that access to capital is a barrier. It's a barrier to growing. It's a barrier to hiring the right people and retaining the right people. And I'm hearing
mhm,
it. I'm hearing it from you. You're like, I love it though, so I'm going to continue to go.
yes,
But one of the things that you'll get here in the marketplace is once you go into our platform, there's access to capital, there's information about websites and platforms and stuff that can really help your business grow. And that's what we're all about. And not just your business, anyone that's listening, right? So
mhm,
we want to make sure that you have the resources that you need to be able to grow your business into the multi-million dollar industry. I know it can be, simply because of your passion, right? And
yes,
because of you're giving back. That energy is being received by others, and so this is a really worthy cause. 'Tis the season, right? And
yes,
so want to make sure that you know that we have access to capital. I'm going to share information. We've had groups come on like True Fun and List that offer
mhm,
access to capital as well. So it's not all out of pocket. So one of the
right,
things that I'm going to encourage you to do is to kind of figure out what we need, in the business to be able to grow and expand it. And then
mhm,
we're gonna look for ways to kind of build your customer relationship management system, because it's all, your business is all about relationships. It's all about
yes,
managing those
yes,
relationships and making sure people are coming back for the experience, because you don't just give them a photo or a trip to Santa Land. You give them an experience. They walk away feeling like, oh, I really, I had this day, with
yes,
Mrs. Claus, right? So and I'm glad we're having this conversation at this time, because 'tis the season. It's for us to kind of look at our books, look at what we've done last year, look at what we can do better this year, and then what are the resources that we can use to get you there. So thank you so much for sharing the barriers with us today, because it's really important for other businesses to understand, they're not alone in
mhm,
not having access to capital. But again, I'll encourage them that are listening today to please go on to the marketplace and see what we have to offer to businesses. So thank you so much. Now, as far as barriers, so the one of the barriers we talked about, of course, is access to capital. What else do you believe can improve in your industry so that you can grow into that multi-million dollar business that I know you can be?
yeah, yeah. The advertisement part of it. I mean, just getting the word out.
So
Um,
marketing. So marketing.
yes,
So you're
yes.
you're like a lot of
Marketing
other
is
business,
huge.
right?
Yes, yes.
So
Marketing
marketing.
is huge. Yes.
Yeah. So and for those listening that are just tuning in to us, so we are joined with the fabulous Miss Tammy Meadows, and she's a photojournalist. She's also Mrs. Claus. And if you're in Brooklyn, come out to Santa. She has a Santa parade on December the 3rd. And so come out and support it. And one of the main things that Tammy does is she involves the students in the community. So she got the steel pans, and she got, dancers, and she got
Gotcha.
all of these individuals making this an experience for those that are going to be coming out on December the 3rd. And of course, if you're in New York, come to is it Gateway? It's the Gateway Mall that you're doing Santaland?
It's not Atlantic
Atlantic
Terminal.
Terminal. Atlantic
The
Terminal, Atlantic Terminal
Yes.
Santaland. And the name of her business is Santaland 365. And so again, you're getting the full experience of Santaland when you go come to see Tammy. So Tammy, we talked about marketing. One of the things that I'll add about marketing, we did have a couple of businesses come on, and marketing is also up there in one of the top tiers of barriers, right? And so marketing now post-COVID is even more important than it was before COVID, right? A lot of my business as a business developer, they didn't even think marketing was important. And now you're telling me it's one of the top things that you need.
It's huge. Yes.
To build your business. And so you don't need just marketing and advertising. You need it on different platforms as well, right? So
different platforms,
media platforms you need it on. You need the physical marketing piece, and having your marketing plan. And again, these are all things that we can help you with at Coaxum Connects. We can help you build out your marketing plan to see what we can do better moving forward. And so for all of those that are listening, we have the fabulous Tammy Meadow talking about some of the barriers that that stops her from well, not really stops her, but slows her down when she's looking to expand and grow and turn into the multi-million-dollar business that she's really going to have moving forward. So thank you for sharing that with us, Tammy. Tammy, what are the other things that I want to just kind of dig in a little bit? First, you're from the South. I just found out you're from North Carolina. I didn't know that.
North Carolina, yes.
I've known you all these years, right? But I want to talk to you a little bit more about Santa 365, about how long you've been in existence with Santa 365. And more importantly, I want to talk a little more about this space, because I don't know, first of all, your business is unique. You're like a unicorn. I don't know many people that are operating a business to the level that you're operating at. And so tell us a little bit about Santa 365. And I mean, you're not doing it just during holiday time. You're doing it 364 days out the year. So tell me a little bit about that for my listening audience to understand your tenacity and your drive and your passion around Santa 365.
Well, Santa Land 365 is incorporated. 1 plus 364 reasons to believe. That's
what it means. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, because, so you got one every day plus. Okay.
Yes, 1 plus 360. I mean, it's not just Christmas time. And
right.
I came about that when I was watching the kids come in and out of Santa Land. And some of the kids is hanging around after school, and they come in, they mess with Santa, and so I figured that a lot of them, some of them come in the mall and they're kind of disruptive. And I figured a lot of them just really need somebody to listen to them, or they just need to find their voice. So Santa Land 365 is really about, I help to see the kids like who's with dyslexia and who are at risk to view the world through the lens of the camera. How to view their world through the lens of the camera.
Nice.
There's a lot of things that children don't talk about, and there are a lot of things that they keep to themselves. But what I learned in photography is that what you photograph is really how you see and view your whole perspective, and what you photograph really tells your whole story. So putting the camera in the kids' hands and telling them to, at first, no direction, just shoot whatever you want, just photograph whatever you want to photograph. And from there, we start the conversation about why did you photograph that? How do you see that? How do you, why is that important to you?
Wow.
And then you open up to the child that way.
Wow. We're going to dig a little deeper into that, because I think it's really important for when you just touched on something really important, and keeping our kids safe and giving them something to do that's positive, and more importantly, seeing the world through their eyes. And so we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back to talk to Tammy about Santa Land 365. We'll be right back.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Metro New York's port services are currently constrained and challenged in facilitating the handling of international cargo. It's time for a whole new ballgame. Just 55 miles north of the city, Stewart Airport, closed during the base realignment, is an underutilized resource that could be maximized and bring growth to the area and relieve New York City. It's an ideal place for a thriving supply chain center of regional excellence called SCORE. We intend to support the New York and New Jersey Port Authority's commitment to the New York International Plaza, putting it at the forefront of a transformation of regional global trade, telecommunications, and economic growth. A logistics-based regenerative smart city that supplies an interactive platform of data and document interoperability to optimize resources. SCORE will transform this location into a thriving hub that can process and distribute cargo via various methods of transportation, elevating it to one of the world's best intermodal ports. We aim to build a cybersecure network operations center that enables customers to share data in real time across the supply chain and across the whole region, utilizing eco-friendly practices to keep things running efficiently. And it doesn't stop there. Not only will SCORE develop high-speed wireless networks in a data-driven city to improve logistics and facilitate international trade, it will also create critical infrastructure for regional economic development. By optimizing the business environment, attracting startups and investment, supporting the development of high-value industries such as medical, education, technology, and hospitality, creating new employment opportunities for the region. SCORE will inject vibrancy and inspire prosperity in an underutilized area to develop a greener and more livable smart city that thrives, bringing excellence to the Hudson Valley. It's a game changer. Visit IC Logistics to learn how you can support this SCORE economic development initiative at Stewart Airport.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Coaxum Report. I'm Terry Coaxum, your host, and you can find us on Android TV, Fire TV, Apple. You can find us on Roku, www.rtv.network. I encourage you to download the app so you can follow up with any shows that we have. And of course, you can catch us on WXTX Bloomberg. Our partners are include Tempo and Callaloo. And so I'm just thrilled to be joined today by Tammy Meadows, who's telling us about Santaland 365. And it's more than just around the holiday time. It is 364 plus one reason to believe. And so Tammy was talking to us a little bit about her tenacity, her drive, and her purpose when we took a quick commercial break. And then we got into a little bit more about what Santaland 365 mean to those that are experiencing it. And she was talking about young people, just putting a camera in a young person's hand and giving them the opportunity to just photograph whatever their heart desires. And through that, really finding out what a young person is going through, because they're capturing their moments in their trauma or whatever is going on with them, their love for whatever, through the lens of a camera. And so, Tammy, I want to thank you for allowing young people to be vulnerable through the lens of a camera. And I never thought about what that even felt like until you just described it. just before we took a quick commercial break. Tammy told us about some of the barriers in her business, which include, of course, access to capital. And we shared some things to help her get more funding, and also marketing plan. For those of you that are just tuning into us, having a marketing plan, Tammy said, is extremely important because you get to tell people where you're at and what you're doing and give them an opportunity to come in and experience Santa Land 365. So thank you so much for sharing that. So let's get back in. Let's talk some more about the work you're doing and the service you're doing for all of mankind. I think it's really important for us to let our listener audience know what else is doing here in the County of Kings in Brooklyn. So tell us a little bit more about Santa Land 365. We talked about some barriers, but now I want to talk about best practices. I want to talk about some things that you're doing now in Santa Land 365 that other businesses can emulate, some things that other businesses can say, hey, Tammy's doing that in the County of Kings, and I can do that here in my community to make the world better. So talk to me about some of the best practices, and then we'll get into some of the big ideas.
One of the things when you're working with the youth is to be consistent.
Mm.
And to me,
Anywhere, not just with the youth, Tammy.
Yes.
Any work you
Right.
do, even if
Right.
it's work on yourself, right?
Right. That's true. That's true. That's
You
true.
have to
That's
be
true.
consistent. All right.
That's
So
true.
consistency matters. Okay.
Yes, I mentioned the children because the children, they have a hard time sometimes trusting and and believing that what an adult says they're gonna do, they're gonna actually do it.
Mhm.
And we're dealing with people who come, kids who come from a place where the word has been broken to them. Trust has been broken.
So
So
they've
to
been
build
broken.
that trust,
Mhm.
right? So if you say you're gonna do something for a kid, a child, you have to follow through. You have
That's
to
right.
do that.
That's
You can't say, well, I'm gonna do it, and then you don't show up. That kid would never trust you again.
That's right.
It's so you have to really be behind and put behind what you
So
say. If you
your
say you're gonna
word,
do
as we
something,
used to say, is your bond, right? Your word
yes,
has to be
word
your
is bond. Yes,
bond,
your word is your bond. Right, exactly. And
right?
that's when they keep it,
So
because once
consistency.
a kid, it's like the gang members, right? The gang members, when they recruit kids, they make them feel like a family. They make them feel warm, and they invite them, and they look out for them. We have to be just like that,
Or even more,
when we're trying,
even more so,
it,
right?
exactly, when we're trying
When
to
we're
get
trying
them
to,
on board. We have to, right, and we have to follow that same template to bring them back, on track.
absolutely.
We
Tammy, I don't
can't
know what's
we
going
can't
on, but your footage is a little fuzzy. It's going in and out of being fuzzy, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on. Because you were clear at first, and now you're not as clear. Your picture isn't as clear. So maybe it's
but
the internet connection, maybe it's the connection. Yeah, so consistency. I like that as a nugget, like, because we're dropping nuggets now. We're at the point where we're talking about best practices and big ideas. We're dropping nuggets to those small business owners that are listening to us. And so one of those nuggets, you're saying, you started off with purpose, right? Understanding your purpose and your vision is how you're successful. And now you're talking about consistency, being consistent in your business, being consistent
right,
with young people, because young people trust. We're talking about trust. Yeah, people have to trust your product. They have to believe
yes,
that you're going to do what you said you're going to do in order for you
mhm,
to continue to expand and grow. And so that's another nugget, that you just
mhm.
dropped for the small businesses that are listening to the show today, right? So what's something else that, some best practices that you've utilized in Santa Land 365 to help you be successful?
But one of the things that we do, even on the holiday season, our Santa, it's not just sitting on the bench taking a photo. Our
Mhm.
Santa is very engaging. Um, you know, People come. He is a black man, and people come and it's like, is Santa's black? And some of the things that happens is that I think my Santa is a chameleon. He can blend in either way. He can with any family. And that's what Santa is. Santa just blends in, like, all of a sudden he just turns into something, right? So, so he is. We hula hoop with the people that come there. We dance. We give them a really good time.
It's an experience.
Yes, it is. It is really amazing. And sometimes people come there and they just want to, some kid would come down there and they would just be like, no, I can't afford a photo, whatever. So what? You can't afford a photo. Take the photo anyway. And it's on me. It's on me because that's
so giving that. So giving that is something else that one of the best practices that you use to be successful. So having team members that emulate the community, that look like the community, and in a positive way, that represent the community in a positive way, right? That's what I'm hearing is one of your best practices. And also being attentive to your customer, understanding what their needs are and not being judgmental, right? You don't realize that you're dropping all these nuggets, but you're dropping a lot of nuggets for the small business audience that are listening to the show today. And I think it's really important for you to be consistent in your business. It's extremely important for you to be trustworthy, for your business to really reflect your vision, and for your team members to be positive. And one of the things that you dropped early on was about recruitment, right? Recruitment, vetting, and making sure that person is a good fit for your business. These are all nuggets that you're saying in about a way, but this is really important for those that are listening to us, whether you're listening to us in the Caribbean, or you're listening to us in Southeast Asia, or you're listening to us here in the United States. It's important for individuals that are listening to understand that these are the things that help you sustain your business. And more importantly, it's what builds your brand. We started talking about marketing and access to capital, but your brand, like your word is your bond, your brand is you, right? So when people see Santaland 365, they don't just see Santaland 365, they see Tammy Meadows. They understand that they had an experience at Santaland 365 that was a trusting experience, a loving experience, that you were attentive to your customer, and when they couldn't afford it, you still gave them the product, and that all comes back.
Yes, it does. Because they would come back and they would tell somebody, and they would come back. And then they would come back and they will like, oh, I remember you helped me out, and then they want to buy more, or then they bring other people with them. I never ever want
the best marketing. That is the best marketing. Word of mouth is one of the top marketing.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I never want anyone to run a business where the people inside the business is thinking that they're better than the people that they're serving.
Right. Absolutely.
That just can't be. Everybody has a story. And I realize that as they come through Santaland, and some of them, they want to tell their story to the point where, tears are shed. Wow. And hugs are given out, and that's how we move. And it was one young lady who came in. I think she had Down syndrome, but I think they let her. She was practicing her independence, and Mr. Caldwell was down there at that time. So she's practicing her independence, and his first instinct and mine is to give her a photograph, like take the photo. And she was like, no, she has to. She has to pay. Yeah, she had to, because that's part of the independence. She had to pay, so we had to pay attention to that. Although we wanted to help her best,
was allowing her to be independent.
Right? Exactly. And we learned a valuable lesson that day. We learned a really good lesson that day. It's like, you know what? Let her be who, and we just champion her on. Right. Great job. You did a great job. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's funny how time flies when you're having fun. So we got to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. We're talking to Tammy Meadows, Santaland 365. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Charles Meriday, and I'm in the restaurant business. In my 20 years as a chef and restaurant owner, I've been able to work and eat in some of the great kitchens around the globe. There's a whole side of the restaurant that most people will never get to see. So now, I want to take you to the back of the house, into kitchens of some of the best chefs in the world. Along the way, I'll share some of my own tips and recipes so you can cook like a pro too. So join me in the back of the house for a whole new perspective on cooking and food. Order in. Roger. Service, please.
Buona Pasqua.
I'm glad that you came. Please.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Coaxum Report. I'm your host, Terry Coaxum, and you can catch us on WSTX Bloomberg. We're part of Callaloo Network. You can download the app on our TV network. You can catch us on Roku, you can catch us on Fire TV, and you can catch us on Wednesday. So now we're on. It's been a great conversation I'm having today with my sister, Tammy Meadows of Santa Land 365, and she's been dropping nuggets left and right about how to sustain your business and best practices and big ideas. And when we went on commercial break, she was talking about consistency, trusting, having trust in the business, making sure that it's an experience for your customer, making sure every time that they walk through Santa Land 365 and they have 364 plus one ways to believe. She's making sure that that experience is coming true. And so thank you so much, Tammy. And I know we took a quick commercial break and you were talking about some of those nuggets. So I just want to share any more nuggets that you want to share with our listening audience about or any best practices that you want to share.
Well, I do want to just let you know that also Santa Lines 365 is about we do teach the children videography as well as B-rolls and voiceovers and how to edit and from start to finish. So it's not just the photography part of it, and also how to interview. Like you will be sitting,
Nice.
like they will be sitting in the seat that you're sitting in, and they will be interviewing people in the community, and that starts a conversation between the child and the adult.
Wow.
And they get to ask senior citizens, the seasoned people, like, what is it like, what, things like that, and that's the connection between the child and the seasoned people.
So building the
Which,
generational gap. So you're not just giving the
yeah,
experiences, you're building the generational gap.
yes,
I think it's really important also because you're teaching them a skill set too, right? Videography and
exactly,
voiceovers, that's ways for them to make money, right?
yes,
So you're teaching them a skill set. So some of your best practices is involving these different things, building the generational gap and making sure that the young people have this skill set that they'll be able to utilize for a lifetime learning. This isn't just a
yes,
one experience. You're taking it through. I didn't even know that you guys had all of this stuff available. I have to take advantage of
yes,
it. Now I have to come patronize your business even more, other than just the photography part of it. Because I know about all your photography skills. We've had a couple of sessions and photo shoots that you've given me some amazing experiences with your photos and stuff like that. So thank you so much. So you're doing videography now and voiceovers as well. So that's great stuff. Oh my. So
yes,
what
that's what.
would you say were some of the because we talked about the best practices and how you're able to sustain Santa 365, how you're able to bring people back year after year, day after day, and giving those 364 plus one ways to believe. What are some of the big ideas? What are some of the big ideas you want to share? Because again, we give the nuggets, right? So we give the barriers, we give some best practices, which you have given a lot of different nuggets on best practices. What are some of the big ideas? I'll start by saying Santa Land 365 in itself is a big idea, because
Yeah.
that's something, like I said, I don't know any other businesses doing what you're doing and giving back in the way you are. But I'll let you tell me what is a big idea that Centerland 365 is able to impart in the community with what you're doing.
One of the things is the parade,
Mhm.
which started. I was just thinking about it, and yeah, sure, Macy's has a parade. Okay, everybody doesn't go to Macy's parade,
Mhm.
and that's fine. The community was so disconnected. There's a lot of different people moving in, and there's a lot of people, they don't even say hi to their neighbors. So my thing was during the holiday seasons, especially for the small businesses in the community, uh, to make it so that it's a pipeline. The parade winds through the community, through the small business where the small businesses are, to bring attention to them through the holiday,
Right.
as well as now ending up at the mall. So I don't want people to just focus on the mall. I want them to also focus on the mom and pop stores in the community, which is
Mhm.
why I wind the parade in such a way that it goes through there and brings out and gets everybody in the holiday spirits. And I let all the small businesses know that we're having a parade, and if they want to be a sponsor, they go on the flyer. All of that stuff. They go on the flyer. They're in the media when we announce it, the little commercials or whatever, and it's just a part of the community, just stitching and bridging the community together.
Nice.
The whole pipeline of it, and just making sure that nobody's forgotten.
Nice.
And I always say it's a small town vibe for a big but diverse community. That's what it
So
is.
now, how can
Yeah.
people be a part of the parade if they're interested in being a part of the parade? They're listening here and they're like, "Listen, I want to be a part of what you're doing over at Santa 365." How do they become a part of it?
Well, we have a website. Santaland at Atlanta Terminal Mall is our website, and also they can contact me at 646-852-4466. And my email is quicksnaps, that's QUIKSNAPS at yahoo.com. That's Quincy Union, Ida, King, Sam, Nancy, Apple, Peter, Sam at yahoo.com.
Nice, nice. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you've given a lot of great nuggets, and I like that you can bring it home with big ideas. And so those that are listening today, so Tammy has Land 365, that's bridging the gap in the community, that's offering young people an opportunity to see life through their eyes and to share their experience with others. And so I think that in itself is another big idea that Tammy is bringing to bear. Generational gaps with the young people in the season, it's a season folks, and having them work together, giving them a skill set, not just giving things away, but allowing them to learn a new skill set so that they can share it with their other young people. And I know young people are really happy with that, Tammy, because every time I turn around, they're doing a TikTok or they're
Yes. Yes.
some kind of social media network. So understanding how to create those different products for themselves, and it could be a lucrative business, moving forward. And so, Terry, I just, this has been, we could talk all day about the wonderful things that you're doing over at Land 365. And again, it's 364 plus ways to believe. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're giving the community ways to believe, especially through Land, but more importantly, through the parade. I mean, who would have thunk it, right? To have a parade to go up, what is it, Washington Avenue, right?
It's going to start from Washington Avenue in Atlanta and goes up Washington Avenue to Eastern Parkway to Vanderbilt to back to Atlantic Avenue to
Right.
Atlantic to the mall. Yes.
And bridging the gap in the community, like building these bridges in the community for those folks that wouldn't traditionally speak to their neighbors because everybody is so busy, right? And so that's
Yes.
a big idea because with parades there's bands and there's and there's they can offer their food along the way or some water along the way.
Yes.
So it's another way to help the communities bridge the gap and give back as well. So this has been awesome conversation, Tammy. I'll learn more about Land 365 on this call and on this show today. And so I'm glad that I participate in the parade and I participate in Land. I will be bringing my boy over, to experience all of the great things that you guys are doing over at Land 365. And I want to thank you for all the nuggets that you've imparted on my listening audience today. And hopefully they'll walk away feeling more empowered, encouraged to give back, especially during this season. And so, we're almost at the end of the show. But I want to give you a couple of minutes to bring it home. Is there something that you want to leave with the listening audience today after this fabulous conversation on one, just being consistent? You have these barriers as a Black woman in this industry, in this space, but you're consistent, you're giving back, you have a smile on your face, and you're continuing to even build bridges in the community as well. So any parting thoughts?
Yeah, I first I want to say thank you very much.
Wow.
Thank you very much, sister.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your support. And I just want to say the children, I'm telling you, with everything that's going on and everything that's happening with our children, that's where it is. I mean, we have to really instill in them and make them feel as though they are important, which is why I want this parade is children generated, children powered, and which is why I want one of the grand marshals, the ambassadors, to be children who have experienced trauma and resilience. I can get, you can have a politician or somebody else to lead the parade, but children leading the parade as ambassadors who have overcome and experienced, and like we're here, we're still going strong, and I'm going to get through this obstacle no matter what.
Awesome. So that's another big idea, Tammy. That's another big idea. So you're full of them. I'm hoping you the very best with Land 365, 364 plus one ways to believe. And I'm looking forward to more opportunities to have this conversation with you and offer it to our listening audience. Have a fabulous Thanksgiving, and I'll have you back on the show soon. Take care. Thank you for joining the Coaxum Report.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you.
I used to watch BET, MTV, VH1, now I watch Tempo. Soca, Calypso, Reggae Dance Hall. Don't stall, better get tuned in to the tempo. Don't have cable, they got an app. Go to your app store, download that. Whether it's tourism, cuisine, or the social scenes, if it ain't Tempo, it's a rap. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo.